There we go. Mwah. Yeah. What's up? Camera's right here. Say hi to the people. Okay, so cat's out of the way. We wanted to stop the recording, but we're right back in. Cat's out of the room, so I can actually continue. I spent the last couple of days watching quite a few videos, mainly just reacting to the amount of struggling that a lot of people are having. Not just with one thing, kind of one thing. It's a mixture of things that seem to be limiting our potential, our enjoyment, and just overall limiting our existence being fulfilling. People feel alone. And I say that from a place of understanding. I'm 29 years old, and the majority of the experience that I've had in my life throughout the years has been nothing. I have amounted to very little, from making friends to falling into relationships. It's been a mess. Now, I myself have been a mess. I've made mistakes in my life, some of them not that much, some of them that I am very not proud of, and others that I wish that I had never made. But the mistakes that I have made and the path that I have traveled, that's me. And so instead of running from them and pretending that those consequences aren't due to my own actions, that's not fair. And it shouldn't be that way. And so I take responsibility for that. But I specifically make this video because of the videos that I've seen and the types of conversations that are being had. In 2024, humanity is lonely. Now, usually it's as simple as looking up into the sky and seeing the stars and thinking, I wonder if there's life up there. Back in the day, the idea was, oh, we thought that we were just alone in the universe. We don't have to be alone in the universe because that part of the equation, we already feel that every day. No, we're alone right here. Every single one of us. There are people who are in year-long relationships. They have spent decades together. Some make it work, but generally, it seems to be that we are very distant from one another, even if we are in those relationships or not. We neglect ourselves. We look past the things that our flaws, the things that make us unique, but also I feel need to be worked on to be the best of ourselves that we can be, at least as much as we can be. Every video that I have seen, people are lost. People, they need direction in life and they don't have it. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. And they don't know how to deal with the everyday situations that they're being put in. You know, very little things that are just dealt with, but in the only way that they know how. And in many cases, it's just another day. You know, you just keep going. Just smile and wave and just keep going. It doesn't matter. But it does matter. Every moment that we're in, every day should matter to every single one of us. An average human being lives 80 to 90 years. How many of them are spent enjoyed, where we look to them and feel fulfilled, where we think, I wonder if that's all that there is to life? All of us, in some way, shape, or form, reach that in some way. Some reach it in a way that's unhealthy. A lot of us do. And others find it in the little things, the ways that we escape from the reality that we have, that we live in. We live through these other characters and whatever it is that we're watching or playing because who we are, we feel just doesn't live up to either expectations, be it our own or anyone else's. I make this video specifically though, I want us to be better. I want humanity to be better than what it is right now. You know, as technology moves forward, I'm recording all of this on my phone. I have my PC here and technology has gotten to a point where we can get a lot done by just sitting here at a chair, at a desk, and that's it. We could just be here and get so much done. Yet we feel empty, completely empty. And I think about that and I wonder, is it just because we are not communicating? we do communicate, at least in some way, shape, or form. Is it a matter of not going outside enough, maybe touching grass or whatever? I don't think that's necessarily the answer either. I think the biggest issue that we have is that we fear one another. We spend so much time placing ourselves in a room, in a isolated location, away from the things that scare us. Me, I'm terrified of heights. They've always scared me. From heights to deep waters, I can't swim. So these things have always scared me. But I think about that and I think the amount of locations that I could be in. I could live in a high rise, maybe one day, maybe not. I could live in that, but would I step away from it just because I'm scared of heights? Or would I appreciate the apartment that I would probably have and just step away from the balcony and go, I'll probably not go there? How much of life are we going to avoid out of fear, out of the sense of I don't belong there, or that things can go wrong. Therefore, I shouldn't place myself in that situation in the first place. But I feel like at the same time, as much that can go wrong, just as much can go right. But we are so hyper focused on that negative aspect of it. And look, I can be a very negative person. I have a horrible outlook on humanity. I kind of always have, because humanity lets itself down. We let each other down all the time. Every time that we progress from our technology to the way in which that we interact with the world around us, just overall is progressing forward. The world is progressing forward. Time is progressing forward. Humanity doesn't. Humanity has stayed still. And we have got to a point where we have built so many barriers around one another that we are just empty. We are unfulfilled and lonely. And I want to say that it scares me. It saddens me. It saddens me because I know exactly what it feels like, because I'm right there too. It saddens me because the only reason it is that way is because we have given in to our fears and have given up on every bit of potential that we have. Now, I was actually reacting to a video. My headset's already dead anyway, so I'm just going to turn this off. The type of person I've tried to be and the types of things that I have tried to be consistent with, be it how I talk to people, the type of personality that I put forward, just to make sure that I fit in, because I never felt like I fit in, be it with how awkward I would be or not being able to take in certain conversations very well. Dialogue was always something that I struggled with. Even in my writing, I struggle with dialogue because I don't know how the natural sense of conversation happens. Now, I can sit in this empty room by myself and just talk for hours. And it's weird. It's very weird. So I was able to do all of that by myself. And to an extent, I've accepted it in some ways. But what I realize is that just because we've accepted it doesn't mean that that's what we should have. We deserve better than that. But we've also given up on that. And it's all out of fear. We are so afraid of not just rejection, but just fitting in. We see it with friendships, we see it with relationships, the types of people that we talk to, the types of things that we say. But really, the thing that really gets to me is we need each other so, so much. There's so much that we need to achieve together, so much that we need to change about the way that we interact with each other. And sometimes it's little things, from the way that we express each other's emotions, our own emotions, and then how we express that to someone else, and taking in what they feel and think, and accepting that as that's their truth as well. Many of the conversations that I have had, and it's weird because when you hear it from different sides of whatever coin that you are flipping, it's weird because they're both saying the same thing, but the opinion of the other side is always that they don't get it, they don't know what it's like, and that they never will. And fair enough. What we see of the world ourselves, what we see with our own eyes, and what we feel and experience right here with our own hands and within our own hearts, all of that means nothing to the world. It really doesn't. The very world that we live in and live on does not care. It just moves on today, tomorrow, in an hour, couple of minutes. As I'm recording this video, the world just moves on. I don't exist to it. But with that said, it's our perspectives. They shape our experiences. That's a fact. That's a complete fact. But the real thing is that for every other person in their own way, it's almost always the exact same thing, from experiencing different foods to enjoying different colors, or the kind of headphones that we use to enjoy any type of entertainment, music, and so on. Even more so with music, I feel like that's a whole other thing. It's such a beautiful thing that actually connects so many of us. I've never been to a concert, but from what you see of it, so many people align emotionally, and I'm not much of a spiritual person, but even spiritually, the way that you see so many people align it for an hour or two, where they are just completely in that same world together, just completely in sync together. It's something that you see very rarely, but music is able to do that. Going back to our experiences, we have our own. What we see of the world, that's also our own, but we need to give room to understand the other persons. And the only way we can do that is through communication. We don't really communicate. In friendships and in relationships, I've seen it all the time. I myself have struggled with it. We don't communicate with one another. We have a problem with figuring out, listen, we both want better. We both want to achieve something that helps me and helps you. Even with that, it's such a how much of a give and take are people really willing to partake in? Because you have people who will give quite a lot, but they do it in one short burst. They give all that they are to one person, and that person hurts them. And they turn around, and then suddenly anyone else on that side of the coin is suddenly also that one person. And I say that as a response to quite a few of the videos that I've actually seen. I'm not going to mention any specific channels and stuff. Maybe not in this video, maybe in other ones. We'll see. I might directly respond to certain videos, but at the end of the day, it would just be my opinion. All of these videos at the end of the day would be my opinion. We live in a very cold world. It's a very cold world. And I try my best to see it for something better. I try to see the beauty in it. I do try. It's just I've recognized that we ourselves have let each other down to the extent that we hate each other based on, to be honest, pathetic things. We hate each other based on how we look. And I mean that in the sense of specifically hate, not just dislike. I don't like that kind of thing, or this is my own personal preference or whatever. That's not what I mean. I mean hate for one another. And it's on superficial stuff, things that don't make any sense to. I don't understand how it's going to push us forward. That's where I question it, right? You can feel how you feel about a certain type of person. Not every single person that meets me will like me, and that's okay. But where I question it is when we make a car in the world, we don't say, oh, I don't like a car that's boxy, therefore let's never ever make a car. Let's never ever look into how we can make something aerodynamic, how we can make something fast, how we can make something that is effective and efficient in whatever it is that we are building it for. And that's just one example out of many, right? Humanity is very lost. We are very, very lost. We are a society that is alone. And I see this a lot in the West, a lot in America, in the UK. We are very alone. And I don't know if it's just a problem of it's just like that for now, but it will be better later. I hope so. I want things to be that way. But I don't think things will be that way unless things go really bad. And I hate that I have to think that way. Again, it just goes to how negative my mind might be, right? But I want to be hopeful. And at every chance I get, I want to push forward some level of positivity. Even if I don't feel that way, I will try to push that because I feel like it's needed. Men in this day and age are very, very alone. And I see this with my own friends. I see it with myself. That's if I can even call myself a man. I feel like the term man is just lost all meaning, all respect, all whatever it is that it carried before. It doesn't really hold any of that anymore. Nowadays, it's just a term for adult boys, but I feel like it should be a status that is earned. There's more to being a man than just I'm almost 30 because I don't think I've earned it. I haven't because I've done nothing with my life. That's how I see it personally. But also, from what I see on the other side, there are a lot of lonely women also, girls and women just generally. People are very lonely, and it's easy to say, oh, you know what, our side is more lonely than yours or whatever, whichever side they're on. Both sides are lonely. People are having a very hard time finding each other. Now, some do figure it out, but more than not, people are having a hard time finding each other. And those that do, it doesn't last very long. And you like to think that oh, maybe it was this and that, but I don't know. I don't know if it's as simple as they just stopped being compatible with one another. I don't know. In this day and age, we focus on things that don't really make who we are in any way. It doesn't help one another better each other. We don't communicate together. We are afraid of each other. We avoid any chance that we can get to spend some time together. I feel like now more than ever in 2024, where we have self-driving cars, at least mostly, we are sending rockets that we can fully control now to space and back and then land them again. We have such beautiful eyes on the skies and we are taking pictures of space. We take pictures of emptiness in just a complete black in space. And we develop these pictures and we realize there's so much beauty and beautiful things to see out there. There's so much out there, even with one another, and we avoid it because we're scared of it. And that fear is making us more alone than ever. Men don't approach women anymore. And there could be a number of reasons for that. And in some of it is out of rejection. I'm one of those. When it comes to a lot of that, I'm a coward, a complete coward. I hate the idea of rejection, but I also hate the idea of putting in that effort and stepping outside of my own comfort zone, just where I'm able to be me, because I have to step away from who I am to be able to step into that world to connect with someone so I can then connect them back to who I am. I'm happy to try that. And I have tried in some ways, and I think this is just a flaw of the type of person that I am, the way that I communicate. I communicate in really weird ways. I mean, I can sit here in this room and I could just say all kinds of things and I'll think of space and all of these cool things and I'll play games, but my mind is doing this whole other thing. I've got this on my mind, this on my mind. I actually have a different video on my mind as well that I was going to record, but I ended up seeing those videos and I thought, I think I need to make this video. Humanity is very lost. Young men and women are very lost. People are very, very depressed. And I want people to do better, but it's very easy to just say, hey, better your life, do this. And I'm guilty of that. I'm the type of person who would walk up to someone who is struggling and say, hey, focus on yourself, do this and do that, and life will figure it out for you. Life will not figure it out for you because life, in a way, doesn't care. But it's funny because that's the beauty in life, but life doesn't care. You should, we as a people should. We should care about one another. We should care about ourselves. We should be bettering who and what we are. We should be doing those things. But we have to also recognize that there's only so much time that we have and what we spend it on. I mean, we spend money as if we have it when we don't. So we are also wasting our time as if we have plenty of it, but we don't. You can believe whatever you like. This planet is supposedly 5 billion years old. The average life expectancy of a human right now is about 90 something years old. Let's just say 90 years old. Imagine that, right? The complete insignificance of a lifespan of a human being. And we spend most of it wanting more and being completely unfulfilled. And when we get a chance to potentially make it better, we avoid it completely. It saddens me. there is so much potential in humanity. There is so much potential in each and every single one of you, as I would hope that there is also in me. We need to be better. But outside of just saying that, I mean, we need to be better people. We need to be better friends. We need to be better partners. And it's not just as a, a matter of communicating. That's the easy part, right? You just put a bunch of words together and hope the other person doesn't really mind and doesn't really question it. It's whatever. No, we need to communicate who we are, what we really feel, and the best ways that we can, I say help each other, but that we can further each other. Everything in life is progressing. Everything in life is going forward. But the only things that aren't is ourselves, me. Loneliness is a big issue. It's definitely a big issue. And it's hurting every single person that I come across on the daily, people that I know in real life and people that I know online. Obviously, majority that I know online, I mostly just communicate with people online. I never really made that much friends in real life. I have a couple, but even them to an extent were on online people that I eventually met. We are very alone. We have let ourselves go and we're not helping each other either. And I feel like we already know how. We know exactly how to solve this issue because each and every one of us already feels it. We know exactly what it feels like. We know what it looks like, and we know what we want in the world. So why not strive for it? At the very least, try. Every single one of us deserves better. Every single one of us deserves to be the best that we can be, not just for ourselves, but for that other person, be it a friend, a person who is going to be a lifelong partner to the world itself. I guess in a way we need to prove to the world we don't. We don't need to. But in a way, it's fair to show the world that you might not care, but we do. Those skies are filled with dead stars. But on this planet we live, we're here, and we care. We're going to put that much effort into seeing those distant galaxies, galaxies that we will never, ever, ever see, meet, interact with, nothing. Yet the person next to me, I am going to give nothing to. We could be better than that. I made this video for one reason, for one specific reason, and I will make more of these. Now, I have a very, at times, it used to be much worse. I have quite, and everyone in some ways nowadays has this, but I have anxiety. At times, it's quite bad. And due to that, I am a very specific way with how I interact with the world around me. And I make this video in hopes of reaching people who feel like they've given up. And I will address that much more specifically in a couple of more videos that I will release in time to the people who have given up, because I did for a long time. And in some ways I have when it comes to relationships and things. I want to be the best person that I can be. And I would hope that you are trying to be the best person that you can be. At the end of the day, if you don't care about you, in this day and age, no one else will either. But the potential there is, though, for each and every one of us to care about one another. I'm not saying go out of your way for every single person that you see. That's not how the world works. But being able to recognize that if you're struggling, it's very likely that the majority of people around you are also struggling. If you're having a hard time, everyone around you is likely also having a hard time. The best we can do is lighten the load. At the very least, remove some of the weight from each other's shoulders. They're carrying the majority of the weight. We can take a little bit off of them. I can carry a little bit with you, even if it's just for today or for tomorrow. Instead of giving up on one another, going our own way. And I see this a lot with much of the incel communities on both sides, on all sides. It saddens me that there is so much potential. There's so much there in the experiences that we can have with one another, that we can exchange with one another. Look, at the end of the day, we all make mistakes. We all have been people that we are not proud of. We all do that. We all reach that at one day, at some point in our lives, maybe throughout our lives. But it doesn't always have to be that way. And I don't want it to be that way. And I would hope that none of us want it to be that way. So, in trying to make it better, and it should be better, why give up on it? So to every community and anyone who does watch these videos, if anyone does, and if anyone really cares, be better. So instead of giving up on each other, and as much as the video seemed very negative, and it is in some ways, because I'm just pointing out the flaws of how we approach ourselves as a population, as this humanity on this planet. I want us to try to be better, progress forward, even if it's one thing at a time, one small step, one single tiny step that we can take each and every single day. It can go a very long way. If you feel something in life isn't for you, don't force yourself into it. If you feel like someone isn't for you, do not force yourself to be into it just because you are alone. But at the same time, if you are alone, do not let fear take you. Because at the end of the day, fear is nothing but an emotion. Life in itself is driven solely by emotion from the people side, because out of fear, we could sit still and never move again. And we will eventually pass on, but it doesn't have to be that way. I've always had a fear of the dark. I didn't let that keep me from getting up and getting a drink at night with the lights off. It's a difficult one, but we make do. Why let it waste away? That's all I ask. Why let it waste away when we can be better? And I want us to be better. I might make a whole thing about this kind of video. Maybe not necessarily a series, but I might make quite a few videos on these just because the topic resonates with me quite a bit. It means a lot to me because I've been so deep rooted in that world. And if my words mean anything, if I'm able to even provide a tiny little bit of a different perspective that helps anyone at all, change one thing in their life, then that will be worth it. If only one person ever sees any of my videos, and out of any of my videos, one of them helps them change one thing for the better, then everything in my life has been worth it because it all got me to that one point. And so that will be the point of these videos. As much as I can be quite nihilistic, I believe in people. I have hopes. I have a lot of hopes, but specifically in people. I think humanity can be a lot better. We can progress and move forward. We can be the best that we can be. And I know that we can do that. We don't need the stars to fulfill us. We have each other. That's all that matters to me. I'll see you guys in the next one.